Man, I'm shattered. Time to sleep. Well, that was certainly quite some dream. What on earth? I've obviously been asleep a lot longer than I thought. This is crazy. There's dust everywhere, even down here. Yep, I've got some tidying to do for sure. Not in here as well. Oh man. Let's get this cleared up then. And with that done, I feel miles better and ready to get back into expanding this city. But I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. Get out of here, you. I can't see the maps. And you're gonna break that glass. Mind you, look at that cute little tail. Come on, shoot. Off with you. Off he goes. But the first thing I have to take care of is this map room itself. And because it's completely filled up with maps already, it doesn't give me scope to document the big things I've got planned. Unfortunately, with where it is in the world, there isn't really anywhere I can expand it to, unless I go down here. So I think I'm going to have to remodel this staircase and create myself a basement where this map would be. And for that, I need to clear myself some space. So what was a significantly bigger dig than I expected was underway. This is a pretty huge space, and you can just see where the edge of the map room was before, and of course previously that was over 2 levels. Now we're to the bigger map versions though. I need loads and loads of space, which is just what we have, and this is definitely going to keep us going for the foreseeable future. But now it's back past all the blocks that I collected to the storage system, where I now need to start collecting a serious amount of items, and even do a little bit of trading for some bookshelves. And now arranged very colourfully, I have everything that I'm going to need for this build and this interior, and I think I'm going to do it in stages. So I'm probably going to do the ceiling, which is going to be the most difficult part, and the floor first, and then I'll check back in when that's done. And stage 1 is now complete. Next up, stage 2, the walls. And now the walls are done, you can see some of the spaces that we're going to have for all of the maps. Although there's also going to be a lot more. And it's the last time that you'll see it like this with all of the texturing on the walls, because this is going to be covered by quite a lot of stuff. Sometimes I do wonder why I texture, but still the finished result is going to be awesome. So now it is time for the final decorations. And now it's all complete. And the first thing that you'll see is here I have moved everything down, and we've got this lovely little overhang for the overall map. And eventually I do hope to fill first of all this entire peninsula and then maybe expand things. We'll see how we go. But similar to the upstairs here, I've carried on the theme of paper manufacture down here. So there is a whole bunch of machines. This one here particularly pumping out loads and loads of small form paper, and the paper's being fed in this way. And then here we've got another giant press that's using these rollers to flatten out the paper from this giant roll, squeezing out all of the water. And then we've got some awesome steampunk machinery on the side of the room here, and behind here that powers everything through these giant cables, with loads and loads of paper reels of different colours just lined up ready to go. And I love this interior, first of all because of the space that it gives me to expand all of the maps for the future, but also because of the really crammed nature of it as well. So we've got all of these boxes stuffed to the brim with maps and paper and documents. This is the extra sections that I've put in, and coming down here there's another one here, and these go right the way down to the back. And like I said, this should give so much scope to expand this place. So let me know what you think in the comments. Whoa, that's too close. But now that that's done, that's a great start back into this world, and there are some changes in this world from last time I was here, namely that I've upgraded to 121.4, and that means an awesome new wood variety in the pale oak, which is going to be vital for the huge builds later on. But first I've got to find the pale garden. So I'll refill my rockets and my carrots and head into the distance on an adventure. I love this view. I don't actually think I've ever travelled in this direction, so there may be some distractions along the way, like this absolutely crazy village. What is going on here? And also, I love this mountain. That's crazy. World's smallest jungle. Ah, that was a mistake. This seems to be an absolutely huge dark oak forest, so hopefully somewhere around here we can find that pale garden. And I love this lake. Look at that. Oh, and a woodland mansion. Nice. Is that? Yes, I think it is. A pale garden. Perfect. First thing first is get myself some saplings before it turns night. We've got some eye blossoms opening up. That means that somewhere there's going to be some creakings. There's one, and now let's see if he can't tell me where his heart is. I think it's there. Right, dude? I think I am going to need to take your heart, I'm afraid. It's all the way over here. Perfect. Can you just leave me alone for a sec? Do you mind? Woo. 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 Don't mind if I chop down this tree, do you? And somewhere up here, I keep you in sight until... Bye-bye. My first creaking heart. I might as well finish off this tree and get myself some resin as well. Perfect. And then it was time for a little bit of light deforestation. And by light, I mean I accidentally cut down the entire pale garden. Whoops. But on the plus side, I now have all the resources from the pale oak garden that I'm going to need, with loads of wood, moss and saplings. Now just to get everything home. Ooh, ocean monument. And there we are. Time to come in for a landing. Perfect. And although I'm now set for pale oak, I'm also going to need loads of resin for these huge builds. And for that, I'm going to need to build a couple of farms from this guy here, Works. So I'm heading over to the village and my industrial area to get building. The first one's really simple and it'll get me all the resin that I'll need to make the bigger farm. But I do need somewhere that's completely spawn-proof. But luckily I already have the perfect space on top of my mob farm. I don't know why, but I'm definitely getting a strong feeling of deja vu. So the first of the simple farms is done, and I've actually doubled this up because I managed to get myself a couple of creaking hearts from the pale garden. And what happens is the creakings will spawn on this platform. You let them come to you and basically you just hit them. Every time they create resin, these observers will pulse a piston and the resin gets collected in here. So simple, great design by Works. And now all I need to do is wait a couple more minutes whilst this sun goes down and get swiping. And there we have it, the first night, and I managed to get a good chunk of resin. Though I did spend more time than I would have liked trying to line the two of them up. But in a couple more nights, that should do it. And now I've got all the creaking hearts that I'm going to need. I'm going to use this tiny little island as the base point to build the giant farm. Though I can't help having a feeling of deja vu. And that's done. And I've spent a couple of nights AFKing over here. And the bounty for that? Loads and loads of resin. So time to get some of this transported across and smelt it up so that I can make some bricks. Here we go. This is going to take a while. So much so that I built a massive extra furnace array. And it's still taking forever. These resin bricks are slow to make. Well, that's done and it's time to take this down. Yeah, I may have overdone it a little bit. And it's not just those, it's each and every one of these too. Which causes me a bit of a problem. Because even though my storage system has 196 automated bays, they're all assigned to stuff that I use quite a lot. So I'm going to have to go through and work out what I can get rid of and what I can consolidate. And that's not even considering things like the new wood and moss. Oh dear, oh dear. But after a good deal of rearranging and tinkering, I've managed to make some spaces. So we've got some moss here with the other moss, a nice section for our resin, and I even managed to squeeze the wood in with all of the others. So I don't need to expand my storage system yet. But it's been far too long since I built something steampunky. And I'm starting to get the shakes. And this area up here has great views, but currently looks decidedly bare. So I'm going to take the road from the end of the street here and bring it round and up this hill next to this factory. And with the city expanding, there isn't enough housing to go round. So I'm going to build myself another factory, because yes, I am addicted to building steampunk factories, and a beautiful street coming down here. So that means I'm going to have to sharpen up my pickaxe, dig this out, and connect up this road. Marco, Polo. And the first stage of the road is now done, and this winds its way across the ridge, down here, and connects up with this street. But now it's on to the next stage, and that is that I've got this absolutely huge list of materials to collect. So it's back into the storage area to start collecting. And after what I'll politely refer to as a short while, all of these resources are now ready to go. So let's get this street done. Now this is done, there is absolutely loads going on here on this street. And I very much love it. First of all, I've added in a whole bunch of straw statues, and they add so much life to the area. And if you'd like to be included in this world as a straw statue, make sure that you leave your name in the comments below. And whilst you're there, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. You know you want to. But with the houses themselves, I've gone for a tough brick base and then loads and loads of different colours. And checking out the interior for the first of them, they are a similar layout on the inside. We've got Mr. Cookie Monster there enjoying the fire, but there's a little seating area in here, going in with a little kitchen, and then just in here, I'm not entirely sure what I was going for, but an anvil with a lamp, because who doesn't want an anvil with a lamp in their cupboard? And what's more, I did exactly the same thing in every house. I'm not quite sure what I was thinking. But anyway, anvil and cupboard aside, if we head up these stairs, at the end they've all got these windows that have got these lovely little views out onto the steampunk town. And that's the main reason that I wanted to put these houses in. But looking at this little corridor, there's some storage, there's a little bathroom in here, and then onto the bedroom, and this one's themed like the cherry wood, with pink throughout, with some bookshelves, and I even remembered to put some books in them. But even though they're very similar, all of these little houses inside do have slightly different touches, and I love the overall effect, and this is going to make it so much more exciting when you come zipping through here on the Elytra course, because before it was just a little bit bare up here. But there's loads of other touches, and one of my favorites is this brand new style of car that I've put in place. So I created this, and this one happens to have broken down after coming up this hill, and this guy here is struggling to fix it. But of course, the other thing that you'll have seen is this huge factory here, and of course these two having an argument. And although it's quite large on the outside, it's got quite a small footprint on the inside, with this huge furnace in the bottom that comes all the way up over 2 floors, that powers a whole bunch of machines in the area, and then pumps all of the waste products out the chimney. Not gonna lie, they could do with being a bit more environmentally friendly in the city. But overall, I think that this looks amazing, and it also opens the door to expand into this area over here, for which I have some absolutely epic plans. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for those. And as I shimmy on through here, the next task I have is actually an idea that I got from Wells Knight when he was visiting. And that was, why on earth did I build this railway here without actually being able to ride the thing? Wells, great idea, I salute you. The slight problem with this is that I need to put trapdoors on the undersides of all of these blocks. And as you can see, it's a significant way in the air. Thank goodness for scaffolding. now that this monstrosity is up, I can actually start doing the adjustments to this. Luckily, I've got plenty of trapdoors and more than enough rails. And yeah, I guess I'll need these too. And probably these as well. And it's done, and now it's time for the first official ride. And there were areas of this that were significantly trickier than I thought, and it's not the quickest thing in the world, but it does give some amazing views out on all sides of the steampunk base, which is really what it's for. Just a kind of a slow, gentle paced journey through, but giving you an opportunity to look at things you wouldn't otherwise have seen, and from a higher level. And this is the first of the bits that was tricky. There wasn't enough of the straight areas for me to put any powered rails, so I had to adjust that slightly. But this bit is kind of more the speedy bit, and you do really get some cool views here as you come down here. And then we are going into what will be the first station. And what I've done here is I've used powered rails that are unpowered to be able to stop here and get off if you want, or you can just push yourself forward and then you carry on up this hill up to where is currently the end of the track. Again, quite a slow bit, you can see there, but this will then go off into the distance into the future areas of the base. But again, a brilliant idea from Wells Knight to actually get this built in here, because it does give a new dimension to the base. But it's back to building now for the next stage of my expansion, and that is going to be floating just about here. And for this, I need to give a shout out to a great YouTuber and builder called Jestix, whose build on screen now gave me the inspiration to create my own take on this, a Steampunk Wasp. So now it's time to head back down my new road to the storage system and get myself all of the materials I'm going to need. After much collecting, I finally got everything that I need. But the problem is I'm down here and the build needs to be up there. So I've also got myself a bunch of scaffolding and loads of dirt, so I can build myself a magical platform to work from. And now I've laid out my ugly dirt platform, ugly but essential, I've also got all of the materials ready to go. So now let's get building. And this build is now complete, and believe me when I say it was a tricky one. There's just so much block variation in this, but now it's complete. I'm really happy. I did make one quite major adjustment to these sections. On all of the legs, I replaced all of the birch with some copper because it didn't look mechanical enough and the color matched much better. So that has made such a difference for me. But overall, I'm super pleased with how this has gone, and it's got this massive stinger coming down here at the bottom. And this has got a full gradient coming through from the resin right the way through, some terracotta to some tuff and some of this new pale moss. You'd be able to see the colours much better if I hadn't detailed it after the fact, of course. Oh well, but being a giant flying insect, of course, the best place to look at this is from the air. So if we head up and look down, it is really cool as you fly in with the perspective of the city behind it. And landing on here, you can see the first thing, I've got a little nod to Ratatouille. There's a little dude who is quite happily steering this ship from the top, or at least he thinks he is. And there are some absolutely breathtaking views of the city here. But now it's getting dark, this is the perfect time to check out the build with shaders on, because it looks so cool. And whilst that sun goes down, we'll check out the interior. There's a guy, of course, who is actually steering this thing, and this is going to be a brilliant view in the future once I've had a chance to develop this area. But the views on both sides out of these giant bug eyes are going to be really cool. Then there's a couple of people, one here, two more back here, who are actually controlling this, which is again slime powered, as there is a big vat of slime here which is going down into the stinger, which at the moment is empty. But if you can think of any small farms to put in there, let me know in the comments. And of course there's a couple of big windows as well, which give some great views. With the shaders on, this looks amazing. You can see how all of the lighting on these little wings here really makes this thing stand out, and it's just there ready to defend the city in case anybody comes and tries to attack it. But it's also practical and can carry things around with its winch. And of course, the entire city, when it's lit up like this, looks great too. And this is another thing that adds some vertical interest to the city, and I'm really, really pleased how it's turned out. But the last thing left to do today is to update the maps and to show off all that we've done. And I've chosen this as the first spot to fill in. As you can see, we've got the Steampunk Wasp there marked for episode 23. I can't believe it's only 23 episodes with what we've done. But there we have the new street, the new factory, and of course the Wasp itself. But if you have enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, and don't miss the next episode on ADcraft.